Okay, today we're going to do a digital doc right triangle trig practice assignment. And if you notice, I am referencing the notes that you did on Monday, so please take those out to have handy while you're trying to figure these ones out. Okay, so here we are on slide 3, and they're just testing to make sure you know how to type this into the calculator or type this into Desmos and that you're in the right mode. So for example, here it wants you to first test the sine of 38 equals x over 80. What you actually type into the calculator is you type in, you're going to be multiplying 80 to both sides, right? So you type in 80 times the sine of 38. So let's make sure you know how to type that in, know where the trig functions are, and you can get the right answer of 49.252. So 80 times, right here on the function, sine of 38 is going to give us 49.252. And there it is. So practice that on the yellow calculator or on Desmos if that's what you're planning to use, so that you know this number 1 is correct. And then we're going to number 2. This time it's going to be 80 times the cosine of 52. So let's go plug that in. It gives me the exact same answer. What an interesting concept. And since they didn't give us any units, we're just going to say units. All right, last one is 34 times the tangent of 24. And that gives us 15.14 if we round up. Okay, so this first one was just testing to make sure that you know how to use the calculator and you could get these answers. Because on the future ones, you're going to have to pick the trig function. You're going to have to set up the trig function in order to be able to then plug it into a calculator. Okay, let's talk for a second about why these two answers were the same. Okay, so do you see how the sine of 38 came out to 49.25 and the cosine of 52? What's the relationship between 38 and 52? Oh, those numbers add up to 90. So anytime you do a sine and a cosine of a complement, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, complement is something that adds up to 90. And it would be the sine of one angle plus the sine of another angle that equals 90. So for example, the sine of 40 degrees would be equal to the cosine of, you got it, 50 degrees. The sine of 25 degrees would be equal to the cosine of 90 minus 25. The complement, the difference of what makes it go up to 90. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyways, that's a property that we will talk about again in the future, but that's why these two answers came out the same. They are a complement. 38 plus 52 equals 90. Okay, slide 3 is done. Now, on these ones, you actually have to identify the trig function, set up the trig function, and plug it into the calculator. So let's go test it out. If B up here on the top is my reference angle, I'm looking for the adjacent. See how this is a side touching that angle, and the hypotenuse was given to us. Which trig function uses the adjacent and the hypotenuse? You got it. That's our cosine function, the ca. So we say the cosine of what is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Take a moment to see if you can set up that trig function. Okay, the angle goes in the parentheses there. The adjacent goes on top. And the hypotenuse goes on the bottom. Excellent. Great job. So we're going to multiply both sides by 38 to solve this. And what you're actually going to plug into the calculator right now is 38 times the cosine of 48. So grab that yellow calculator and try it out, and then look to see if you got the same number as me. Did you get 25.43? Oh, this one did. I don't have to write units. This one did say meters as the units. Okay, perfect. I'm now on number 5. I'm standing up here at D at the reference angle. This time they gave us an opposite and a hypotenuse. And so that uses the sine function. So sine of 51 is equal to y over 83. Multiply both sides by 83. And we type in 83 times the sine of 51. We get 64.50 centimeters. You got it. Okay, so we're done with that slide, numbers 4 and 5. And we're going down to 6, 7, and 8. Pause the video at this time. Try to set up the trig functions on your own with your group at your table, and let's see how far you can get. All right, standing here at the 51, I've got an adjacent and an opposite. What uses the opposite and the adjacent? It's a TOA. Tangent of 51 degrees is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, and our units are going to be inches. Multiply both sides by 57. What I'm actually plugging into the calculator this time, z is going to be equal to 57 times the tangent of 51. Okay, 70.39. And this is going to be inches. All right, number 7, standing here at the reference angle, I've got an opposite and an adjacent, which uses opposite and adjacent, or more importantly, which one does not have a hypotenuse? That's the tangent function, TOA. Tangent of the 20-degree angle is equal to W over 83. We're going to multiply both sides by 83. 83 times the tangent of 20, and it gives us 30.21 inches. Okay, last one. Which trig function uses an opposite and a hypotenuse? You got it. It's the sine function, the SO of the SOHCAHTOA. Sine of 55 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. We're going to multiply both sides by that denominator of 172. What you're actually going to plug into the calculator is 172 times the sine of 55. $140.89. And that's centimeters. Okay, awesome. Every day we're trying to get a little bit more comfortable with these different trig functions, and you probably were typing into the digital doc instead of handwriting it like me, but hopefully that helped. Good job. Click turn in.